Hello, today we are working on multiplying and dividing fractions and decimals. So starting with this first problem, we're looking for words like of and as much that tell us that we're multiplying. So both of those are some of our multiplying keywords that we can kind of look at. So starting in this first problem, we have Angel bought 1 3/4 pounds of hot Cheetos. 2/3 of this amount, telling us to multiply, this amount was used at a party. How many, oh Lola, baby. How many pounds of hot Cheetos were used? So we're taking this 1 3/4, multiplying it by 2/3. For that, we had that keyword of, and this was the amount used. Normally when we multiply, I would just multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom, but I can't do that here because I have this whole number in the way. So before I can even begin multiplying, I have to use C, Texas. So I'm multiplying 4 times 1 and then adding 3. I end up with 7 over 4 times 2 over 3. And Lola is back. Hello, baby. Come on. Oh. No, please get out of Mom's video. Oh. I don't know. I kind of want to keep it in. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Once we've done C, Texas, we have our improper fraction, and we can multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 times 3 is 12. We have our answer, but it doesn't look like any of our answer choices. Because A, it's not fully simplified, and B, it's an improper fraction right now. So we're going to start off by simplifying it. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2. I get 7 over 6. And I still have an improper fraction. So reading this as a division expression, like we did yesterday, I'm saying, okay, well, that's actually reading 7 divided by 6. So I have 7 in the house, 6 outside. 6 goes into 7 one time. 6 times 1 is 6. Subtract, and we get this remainder of 1. So the way that we can read this is I have a whole number, 1, that was taken out. It's on top of the house. This is our whole number. This remainder is stuck in the fraction form. It has not been divided out yet. So we're leaving it in the fraction form with the same denominator that we started with. So we started in 6. We're still talking about 6. Giving us a final answer of A, 1 1/6 pound. Our next problem, a class of 26 students bought a present for their principal. The present costs $111.80, tax included. How much did each student contribute if the class shared the cost equally? See this keyword equally, which tells us we are dividing. So we're going to take that total cost, $111.80, and divide it by the number of students who were pitching in. So in this case, we're dividing by 26, assuming that the teacher did not pitch in, because the problem doesn't tell us anything about that. So going through here, we have, okay, 26 goes into 1, 0 times. 26 goes into 11, 0 times. 26 goes into 111, 4 times. 26 times 4 is 104. I can subtract and get 7. Before I bring down this 8, I want to make sure I've pulled up my decimal. So I know that I have $4, and now I'm just calculating how many cents each student needed to pitch in. I'm bringing down my 8. 26 goes into 78 3 times. 26 times 3, 78. I have to bring down that last 0. Even though it feels unnecessary, we have to make sure we're bringing down every single number in the problem and dividing all the way through. 26 goes into 0, 0 times. We subtract, and we're done. We get a final dollar amount of $4.30. So for under $5, you could get Miss Lyman a pretty nice present. For these last two problems, they're just computation problems, meaning there are no words. It is not a word problem. You don't have to figure out, oh, am I dividing or multiplying? Because we can just look at the symbol. The STAR test doesn't do these super frequently, but they do come up, and they're really nice problems because we don't have to read through this whole paragraph and try to decide what we're doing. There are less tricks in these problems. So these are the kind of ones that can boost us from not passing to passing or from not mastering all the way up to mastering. These are kind of our booster problems. Looking at this first one, it is our first division fraction problem. When we are dividing fractions, we use KFC. But before I can do any of that, I have to take this whole number, 10, and make it into a fraction. I can't divide a whole number and a fraction, but I can divide it if they're both in fraction form. So I'm going to take that 10 and give it a denominator of 1 because it's a whole number. So nothing about the value of this number has changed. I just gave it a denominator so that it could be in fraction form. I'm still dividing by 5/8. Now I can use my KFC. So I'm keeping the first number, flipping the second number, and changing the sign. In case you forgot about how KFC works or you want a quick refresher, there is a poster for both multiplying and dividing fractions on the far wall over by the big mountain picture thing. There's a whole poster on dividing fractions with all these little tips and tricks on there. So we're keeping this first number, 10/1, changing our sign to multiplication, and flipping 5/8 into 8/5. Now I can multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom, and I get 80/5. Again, all of our answer choices are in the most simplified form. And our answer right now, 80/5, is not simplified at all. We're going to divide this down, reading it as a division expression, so 80 divided by 5 instead of 80/5. 80 goes in the house, 5 outside. 5 goes into 8 one time. You get 5, subtracting, you get 3. Bring that 0 down. 5 goes into 30 6 times. 30 exactly, and we're done. So our final answer here would be 16. Last problem of the guided notes. We have 1 4/5 times 8/9. Again, we have this mixed number here, so we need C Texas. So we're taking 5 times 1, we get 5, add 4, we get 9. The denominator stays the same, so we're still talking about fifths. Multiplying by 8/9. Multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. 9 times 8 is 72. 5 times 9 is 45. We definitely need to simplify because we have both an improper fraction and we have these really big numbers, and I'm certain that they can be simplified. If you ever run into numbers like these and you're like, I'm not really sure what to divide by, we can always start out trying to divide by 2, by 3, or by 5. But in this case, we actually got really lucky because we multiplied by 9 both times to get these numbers. So I know, because I multiplied by 9 to get there, I can divide by 9 on both. 72 divided by 9 is 8. And 45 divided by 9 is 5. So it's fully simplified, but I still have an improper fraction. So it still doesn't look like any of my answer choices. I'm reading this as a division expression, 8 divided by 5, putting 8 in the house, 5 outside. You take 5 goes into 8 one time. 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract and get 3. Again, I have this remainder that is stuck in the fraction form. So 1 made it out. 1 is a full-grown whole number. 3 is still stuck in that fraction because it was a remainder. It was left behind. We end up with 1 3/5, or answer choice A. Your quiz question today is actually going to be coming from your homework instead of the guided notes portion. So it's the second problem in your homework, the one about the taxi. that is going to be your quiz question. It is not multiple choice. It is a short answer question. So make sure you're typing your answer in a way that's clearly communicating what you're trying to say so that I can give you a grade that is, that makes sense. Sorry, Lola interrupted our video. If you have any questions, bring them to small group. And remember, if you need help on your homework tonight, there is homework help on the Google Classroom with videos that do not have cats interrupting them. And if anything that I said didn't make sense to you, definitely check out those videos instead.